The Telltale Heart. Have you ever felt very nervous? I was very, very nervous. I am still nervous now. But does that mean I am crazy? No. My mind became very sharp. I could hear everything. I heard sounds from the sky. I heard sounds from the earth. I even felt like I could hear sounds from hell. So why do people call me mad? Listen to my story. I will tell you everything. You will see that. I planned everything very carefully. I did not hate the old man. He was always kind to me. He never hurt me. He never insulted me. I did not want his money. There was only one thing that bothered me. It was his eye. One of his eyes looked like the eye of a vulture. It was pale blue and covered with a strange white film. Whenever he looked at me with that eye, I felt cold and afraid. Slowly, day after day, I made a terrible decision. I decided to kill the old man, not because of him, only because of his eye. People think I am crazy, but a crazy person cannot make such a careful plan. For one whole week, I was kinder to the old man than ever before. Every night, exactly at midnight, I quietly opened his bedroom door. Very slowly, very, very slowly. I did not want to wake him. I carried a dark lantern with me. The lantern was completely closed, so no light came out. I pushed my head through the small opening in the door. It took almost 1 hour just to move my head inside. Yes, 1 whole hour. I was that careful. Would a mad person have so much patience? When my head was inside the room, I slowly opened the lantern. Only a tiny line of light came out. I pointed that little light at the old man's eye. I did this every night for 7 nights. But every time his eye was closed. I could not do what I had planned. It was not the old man that I hated. It was only his terrible eye. Every morning I acted like a good friend. I spoke to him happily. I asked him how he had slept. He never guessed that every night I stood beside his bed while he was sleeping. On the 8th night, I was even more careful. I opened the door more slowly than ever before. I felt proud of myself. The old man knew nothing. He had no idea that I was watching him. Suddenly, my thumb slipped on the lantern. A small sound came from it. The old man jumped up in bed. "Who's there?" he shouted. I did not answer. I stayed completely still. I did not move for 1 whole hour. The old man stayed awake. He listened carefully in the darkness. Then I heard a quiet sound. It was not a cry of pain. It was a cry of fear. I knew that sound. I had heard it from myself many times when I was afraid at night. I almost felt sorry for him, but I also smiled to myself. I knew he was terrified. He tried to tell himself that everything was normal. Maybe it is just the wind. Maybe it is only a mouse. Maybe it is a small insect. But deep inside, he knew something terrible was waiting in the dark. After waiting for a long time, I opened the lantern just a little. A thin beam of light fell on his eye. The eye was open. Wide open. When I saw it, anger filled my heart. Then I heard another sound, soft, quick, steady. It was the old man's heartbeat. At first, it was quiet. Then it became louder and louder. Every second it beat faster. I stood there without moving. I could hardly breathe. The heartbeat grew louder and louder. I became afraid that the neighbors would hear it. I could not wait any longer. With a loud scream, I threw the lantern open and rushed into the room. The old man screamed once, only once. I pulled him onto the floor. Then I pushed the heavy bed on top of him. The heartbeat continued for a few minutes. Then it stopped. The old man was dead. I checked his heart. There was no heartbeat. His terrible eye would never look at me again. Now I had to hide the body. I worked quickly and quietly. I cut the body into pieces. Then I lifted 3 wooden floorboards. I hid every piece under the floor. After that, I put the boards back perfectly. No one could see anything strange. There was no blood. Everything looked clean. At 4 o'clock in the morning, someone knocked on the door. It was the police. A neighbor had heard a scream. They came to search the house. I smiled and welcomed them. I told them the scream was only from a bad dream. I also said that the old man had gone away to the countryside. The officers searched every room. They found nothing. Finally, I invited them to sit in the old man's bedroom. I even placed my own chair directly above the place where the body was hidden. I felt proud. I thought I had won. The officers talked happily. They looked relaxed. But after some time, I began to feel nervous. My ears started ringing. Then I heard a sound, a soft, quick, steady beat. It was a heartbeat. The sound became louder, louder, louder. I spoke faster to hide my fear, but the heartbeat only grew stronger. The police acted as if they heard nothing. They smiled. They kept talking. I became terrified. Did they really hear nothing? Or were they making fun of me? I could not bear it anymore. I jumped up and screamed, "Stop pretending! I did it! I killed him! Pull up the floorboards! The heartbeat is coming from under the floor. It is the old man's heart."